Good evening. The Minister of Tourism has urged Otago, Southland and Westland people to work together for more progress in local tourism. Fran Wild spoke to members of the industry today, and as Kim Haring reports in Anau, the locals were interested in one issue.
Te Anau people have been waiting for this meeting with the Minister for some time. High on their agenda is concern about poor tourist facilities in Milford Sound. Their replacement is expected to cost $13 million. The government's been asked for $5 million towards it. Fran Wild wasn't able to say yes or no today, but she's hopeful.
I am committed to the Milford development. I think it is a very important issue for New Zealand tourism. I have had a number of meetings with Philip Williston, the last one yesterday morning, and the gap is closing, but it has not closed entirely yet, and we are still searching for ways of finding that money.
These locals have fought for an improvement in Milford Sound tourist facilities for some time, and they told the Minister they don't want the argument to go on for another 20 years.
It's been like that for years, and we are heartily sick of it.
What do you hope that she will do now?
Well, I was very impressed with a personal statement she said that she herself would like to see the problem at Milford rectified within 6 months. So I am waiting with bated breath to see that happen.
The possibility of a road between Hollyford and Haast and the sale of the THC and its major asset, the Milford Track, are just two more of the issues they're concerned about here. The Minister says many of these problems could be attacked locally.
It is absolutely essential that Southland, Westland and Otago can work together. I have put it to the Southland people that should we be working with the other two regions. They have agreed at this meeting. I will be going to Westland and Otago and putting the same proposition to them, that there is a case for an urgent sitting down together, putting all the issues on the table and trying to rank our priorities, because this is going to be a very important part of New Zealand tourism.
The Alliance Freezing Company has issued suspension notices to its 5,000 striking workers. But the Meat Workers Union says this was expected with Easter coming up and dismissed the tactic as management rubbish. The unions also rejected a company proposal to get the Pukuri works at Oamaru back in business. The company offered the workers an existing redundancy agreement, but the union says it's worth only half the agreement in place at the DMBA works in Dunedin. At least 800 fishermen and women will be out on Otago Harbour this weekend in pursuit of salmon. The annual salmon fishing competition has attracted record entries and some big prizes. But as Mark Price reports, fishermen think the top prize is out of reach.
The poster says over $40,000 of prizes, most of which is tied up in a new car. To win the car will take a salmon weighing at least 20 kilograms. And according to some pretty experienced fishermen, a catch of that weight is just a bit unlikely.
Doubt it very much if they get a 20 kilo here. They can't even get them in the mouth of the Waitaki. They've even cut it down to 18 kgs this season for it. Yeah.
So the prize is pretty safe, you reckon?
I would say so. You could just about put $1 million up it, it would be safe.
Fishing and commercial organisations have paid for the release of thousands of young salmon, and as they've returned as mature fish, they've become a major attraction for some very patient fishermen. This is fish number 2 for Phil Hanna, and he's been here for 2 months.
Oh, it's pretty quiet this year, really, compared to what it was last year even. There's a lot more fish caught, but it just depends on the way it is, I suppose.
What's the theories about why it's like it is?
No, I don't know. Some people say it's the water temperature. The water's been too warm, barracuda have been coming through, there's not been the feed coming up the harbour, so the fish haven't been coming up. But no, there's been big fish caught, but not as often as last year.
Others have done a bit better.
I've got about 14 so far. Heaviest has only been about £9, nothing startling. They're averaging about 18 inches, 19 inches.
But to catch the salmon, you need the sprats. And be warned, they seem to be even harder to catch than the salmon.
Euan Lockhart's back in town, and tomorrow night the homegrown New Zealand basketball guard will be doing what he does best, thrilling spectators at Dunedin Stadium in the Otago Nuggets' home debut in First Division. Ken Nicholson predicts the all-action encounter against the Waitakere Rangers will draw up to 2,000 fans, and they'll all be screaming for a home win.
Remember this fellow?
Oh, Euan Lockhart!
Well, Euan Lockhart is home after a couple of years in the north, and basketball fans should flock in to see him. Dunedin fans have always been a boisterous lot in the stadium, and with this being Otago's home debut in First Division, it'll be mighty rowdy under the stadium roof. The home crowd will be just the fillip needed to lift the Nuggets after 2 big losses up north. Losses that have made the team even more determined to put on a good performance in front of their home crowd.
We're a basketball team that kind of got into something that we weren't sure exactly what it was. It was kind of like walking through the bushes and running into a hornet's nest. But, you know, I think we will recover, and I think we'll be a good basketball team by year's end.
Lockhart will have 2 American pros alongside him. Jimmy Braddock, a former starting teammate of NBA superstars Michael Jordan and James Worthy from North Carolina. And at 6'9", Tyrone Black is a big man, and he knows how to use that bulk. It'll be mainly on this trio that Coach Baldwin relies on to provide the inspiration for a first-up home win. And if it comes, there's no better man to lead them than Lockhart.
He's been a good leader. He's a very determined, tough competitor. So, you know, he's not beat, and I think that carries through to the team, and so we're not beat as a group.
Just how important is this first home game to you?
It's very important. You know, they're all important, but we see it as a real opportunity to get a first win.
And no one will be wanting a win more than Lockhart to celebrate his homecoming.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to the stadium. It is like coming home.
And the support of the crowd will be very important to
Yeah, well, I think Dunedin crowds have always been good. Coming down from Auckland, the thing I noticed when I first went up there is that they don't get as much support as in the provincial centres, and I think I'm going to appreciate that.
If all that basketball's a bit too active for you, don't despair. Tomorrow is World Health Day, and the message is it's fun to be active. The Dunedin Health Committee has put out a brochure with some suggestions on what you can do tomorrow. The first thing to do is to stretch out and turn off the television. But not just yet, though. Speechless. I'll just stick to watching the basketball. Have a good weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Good night.